We just live right now, man. It's going down, excited for the season. You know, we coming off a playoff win. I mean, you know, we had a couple wins.
At least pride-wise, made me feel good because you don't ever want to get swept.
And I've never done this. I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
If you ask me, can the Bucks win Game 5? I put it at
100%
confidence. Yes.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
At this point, you don't know what's going to happen. You can get Game 6. You can steal it.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Winning Game 6 and 7?
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
I don't think they're going to win the whole series, but...
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 225 of Dear Diaries, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast brought to you by us here, the staff at Brew Hoop. I'm one of your usual hosts, Jackson Gross, back after a little bit of a week off last time, but someone who never takes any breaks. He's back once again. It's Jack. Jack, how are we doing?
Oh, doing all right, Jackson. It's hay fever season over here in Australia, so we're all a bit sniffly in my family. But yeah, I mean, interesting week for the Bucks. A lot of rumors going around about key players on the Bucks, and I'm keen to discuss all of that with you today.
Yeah, you know that saying where it's like, what was it? It's like days happen in years. This was like one of those days and weeks where like years happened within inside a week. I know I'm getting the phrase wrong, but that's just like,
I know what you mean.
So much happened over the last 8 or 9 days. So let's just get right into it because there's a lot to talk about. And the first thing we have to start about, which kind of kickstarted everything else we're going to talk about, is their loss on December 1st. So 10 days ago from when everyone is listening to this, they lost to the Washington Wizards without Alex Sarr and Corey Kispert.
Yeah, and Trey Johnson, their rookie.
Oh, yeah, and Trey Johnson. I always forget that one. But, yeah, like, that was a bad one. They had a 16-point lead in the middle of the third quarter after KPJ hit, like, his second 3 in a row. I think that got him to 30 points, as most as a Buck. And then they just completely collapsed after that. Midway through the fourth quarter, KPJ goes out with back spasms. Wizards take the lead. The wily vets of of CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton turn into their prime selves like it's back in 2019. And they end the Bucks. It was really a 6-point game, but AJ Green got a meaningless 3-pointer at the buzzer to make it a 3-point game. So yeah, I think you were on the player grades for that one, and everyone talked about it. Like, it was just one of the worst body language and worst efforts I've ever seen Giannis, not just in my 2+ years on the site, but from what I've seen since his ascension to an MVP level.
Yeah, I've spoken before about how, like, I have issues with Giannis's one-on-one defensive technique, and I think he reaches too much and stuff like this. But this game was like, you can't put what happened down to like technique mistakes. Like, it looked like he did not care. And obviously, as you'll talk about probably next, there may have been some context added to that, which I did not know at the time. But again, I was grading him on that game, and it was just like, there was no care factor on Chris Middleton, who we know is a very crafty scorer, but he's not exactly like fleet of foot, was just running around him like a traffic cone, like a lot. And it's just like, it was very eye opening for sure.
Yeah, it was. I had the rapid for that, and I just remember watching, and I'm like, what am I watching? Like, you got Chris Middleton like hitting and one mid-range jumpers over AJ Green. Like, just so bad on so many levels. And like minus Torian Prince, they were completely healthy. So it completely inexcusable loss. But yeah, as you said, that lack of effort might have had some context behind it because, yes, as you'll see here in a minute, they had a miraculous comeback win over the Detroit Pistons, but that came with Giannis only playing 3 minutes into that game after what was eventually revealed to be a calf strain after he assisted AJ Green on a bucket. The Bucks were down by as many as 18 points. They were down 19-5 or 19-4 when Giannis went out at that point. Not looking good at all, but they were able to chip away throughout the rest of that game. And of all players, Jericho Sims didn't ice the game, but gave the Bucks the lead very late in the game with an and one layup and free throw, completing the and one. And then AJ Green eventually ices the game after hitting a couple of free throws after Cade Cunningham missed the potential game tying 3-point shot. So yeah, it was a very mixed bag, especially with all the outside stuff that was going on that we'll get into later. But this was just totally unexpected effort. And it felt at the time, before the next two games we're going to talk about happened, it felt like a major statement win and a step up to like, okay, here we go. The Bucks can do some things without Giannis.
This game was kind of like Giannis goes out, the team gets down like 18-4 or whatever that you just mentioned. And it was kind of like, all right, well, free swing here. Like nobody expects the Bucks to win. And that's what it really felt like they were playing. Like it was like they were just playing with house money that game, you know? And in that fourth quarter, I mean, they went to the zone for like a good, I feel like midway through the second quarter and they almost didn't come out of it. And
yeah,
I'm watching Detroit like operate and like they're the best team in the East. I don't know if they're still the best team, but
yeah, they at the time they were still up 2.5 games on the Knicks. So that I don't think that's changed.
And I'm watching them play and I'm like, the Bucks have a lot of issues, but I'm like, the Bucks have been zoning for like 2.5 quarters and they just never really sorted it out. And you know, like they were just kind of leaving Asar Thompson open and like kind of like just leaving Jaden Ivey open a little bit and just like putting 2.5 guys on Cade at all times. And it worked really well. And then on the offensive end, it was like just firing threes, like AJ Green, AJ Green, fourth quarter threes in Fiserv. There's just nothing like it. Like it's just it's like a spiritual experience when he's dropping those shots. So, yeah, it was like a free shot. And then, but I must admit it felt like, I'm not sure if they can repeat that type of, it felt like it was like a sugar hit, but then it was like, how often can we repeat that? And then I think we saw that over the next two games. Yeah,
it made me think of what that last part you just said. It's like kind of getting that hit out of a pixie stick. So yeah, I mean, as someone who was in attendance for those AJ Green threes, it was a religious experience. Like especially, I think the second one, Javonte Green comes flying in at like the very end to contest that shot, and he still nails it to give them the lead. Yeah, I could see what you're saying. I guess the hopium, if you want to say, it's like, okay, they figured out how to play without Giannis. Let's see what they can do. And maybe they can get revenge on another Eastern Conference team they lost to earlier in the year. And that was the Philadelphia 76ers. But that didn't happen in what I would call a major letdown after what they did last Wednesday. They lose 116-101. Tyrese Maxey had his lowest scoring game of the season. I believe he had 12 points on 5 for 12 shooting, somewhere in that ballpark. But Paul George had a big game. Jabari Wright had a big one. Or not Jabari Wright. Whoa.
Jabari Walker. Yeah.
Jabari Walker. Okay, at least I have the W right. Right. who came into that game shooting 29% from three and then proceeded to hit his first 4 or 5 in that game against the Bucks. And they had a slight lead in the first quarter, and then Philly just started raining threes. They got down by as many as 26, I want to say. And then they got it within 8 later in that game, but by that point, it was just bad. And the rotations with Myles Turner and Bobby Portis were ridiculous. He took out Myles Turner with 3 minutes left in the third quarter and then didn't play him again until 2.5 minutes left in the fourth, where the Bucks were down 12.
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that one.
Yeah. I read the outline. Yeah. But yeah, just they had a chance to build on what it was a seemingly great performance against the Pistons and let Paul George in 2025 and I don't know if he was undrafted, but a former two-way player kind of kill them.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even really remember much about the Pistons game. I remember Paul George kind of like brought them home a little bit. Like you said, Maxey was pretty ineffective the whole game. Felt like he set up his teammates decently well, but didn't necessarily get too much into the scoring department. Yeah, I don't know. They kind of just let themselves get in a hole. The shot making wasn't the same as it was against Detroit, and I think that's kind of what it's going to come down to. Without Giannis, is like if they're not making shots, they just don't have enough. Like they need to be hitting threes at like a good rate, and that's the same thing for the whole season. Basically, like they need to hit. They have a team that's structured around a player who's meant to set up all the threes, and obviously when that player's not there, it's harder to then set up good looks. But regardless, if they're not shooting it well, they're kind of just it's gonna be tough for them to keep up. So yeah.
Yeah, and just stat checking myself for a second here. Yeah, Maxey had 12 points on 5 for 14 shooting. He did have 4 assists, 4 steals, and a block. Quentin Grimes led the Sixers with 22 points, and then it was
so it wasn't even really like. Yeah, I thought he set up more. I thought he had more assists, but yeah, they really didn't. It wasn't like an amazing effort from Philly either.
Yeah, and then you talk about the 3-point shooting for the Bucks. They shot 11 for 32. That's 34%. Bobby Portis, Myles Turner, and Ryan Rollins were the only ones who made multiple threes. And we didn't even bring up the biggest part from that game. AJ Green left the game after the first half. He got a nice shot from Andre Drummond on a screen, and he was listed out with a left shoulder contusion, which caused him to miss the second round this week or last week that the Bucks had with the Detroit Pistons. No AJ Green, major problem. And it was a blowout loss to the Detroit Pistons, 124-112. This time in Detroit on the second game of a back-to-back. Again, the Bucks' only victory on the second game of a back-to-back this year was against the Dallas Mavericks by 2 points in a terrible, terrible game. So that continued to be a major problem. I did not get a chance to see this one, but I just kind of had a feeling without Giannis and without AJ Green on top of it, it was just like, I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pole. I know Detroit's gonna do what they do. Isaiah Stewart had a big block. Kind of called out the Bucks for playing a lot of zone, saying it's a man's game, and they're out here playing zone. Just kind of a searing indictment on Doc Rivers, and deservedly so.
Yeah, this was another weird one. Like Turner starts off 4-4. They actually played quite a good, I want to say, like first quarter and a half. They were forcing turnovers. Myles was like 4-4, and then he shot 4 shots for the rest of the game. And it's just like, okay. But I'll talk about that later. What else from that Detroit game? KPJ was I mean, like it felt like a little bit of unsustainable shot making because the shots that he was making were like so tough. But I mean, he was their own. Like Detroit's defense is just physical as all hell, and he was the only person who was really like making divots in the defense and actually drawing players and kind of creating those creases and whatnot. And his shot making was just insane. Like he made 2 shots from the corner. 2 threes from the corner. Like one of them was like fading out of bounds, like off a pump fake. It's just insane. But other than that, Rollins got in foul trouble. He played like 7 minutes in the first half, and they just had nothing. Especially without AJ Green, they just couldn't. They had nothing to kind of like open up the defense, and it was kind of curtains from there.
Yeah, and I'm just looking back at the play-by-play of that game. They were within 10 at the start of the fourth quarter, but my whole thing just looking at this, they just couldn't offense. They ended up going down by 20, and it just kept getting worse and worse. They were down by 24 at one point. Oh, God, 25. Oh, my God, it just keeps getting worse the more I look at this. Okay, I'm not going to look at this anymore. I think it got up to like 27 points at one point. So to go from down 10 to down by 27 in like 6 minutes is ridiculous. So, yeah, it's kind of just life without Giannis again and your best three-point shooter, which does not help. So just bad. Just a bad week. Like honestly, we expected the Bucks to go most people expected the Bucks to go 1-3 or 2-2 this week. We didn't think it would be one of those wins and be over the Detroit Pistons and not the Washington Wizards. Like,
I mean, this idiot week predicted 3-1.
So. You predicted 3-1?
I think yes, I did, and that was before Giannis got injured. But
that's fair.
I mean, obviously, if Giannis doesn't get, if Giannis isn't playing, then I'm gonna like not favor this team in many games at all. So.
I was gonna say you went to my school of hopium and like optimism about this team because I think I predicted them twice already to go like a perfect week, and they just haven't done that. So that's never happening again unless they win like 7 in a row. So, oh my gosh! All right, so enough about the games, and we'll get into what we learned about them in a second. But there's outside of the games themselves. The off-the-court tea, the drama, the rumors have been going off like gangbusters. As we'll title this segment, Giannis Rumor Slop Roundup. I'll give you the floor and kind of explain to the fine folks listening, like what the heck has been going on with Giannis and all the NBA insiders.
Yeah, so the game, like I said, the Washington game happens. Giannis looks like he doesn't care. And then literally the next morning, it comes out that Shams Charania reports that, got it here, get the wording correct, Giannis and his agent have started conversations with the Bucks about the two-time MVP's future and discussing whether his best fit is staying in Milwaukee or going elsewhere. So that was like the big report. Got obviously heaps of play on social media and stuff and whatever, a lot of talk. Shams, for whatever you want to ascribe to this, he said a source described the situation to him as writing on the wall. Then, I've completely lost my tab here. Then we had Chris Haynes come out with a report, I want to say yesterday. Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo met with some teammates to address rumors of his future. Message was to focus on basketball and not allow outside noise to distract him, which I must say, just like for a bit of comical relief, that is like the definition of the guy wearing the hot dog suit. And it's like, we're all trying to figure out who did this. Or like SpongeBob pointing at himself on the thing and saying like "criminal wanted" or something.
Oh yeah, he's looking around for the criminal,
Yeah.
and it's him on the wanted poster.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I wonder who did the team distractions. Anyway, so that was kind of funny. And then literally today, I was just scrolling Twitter before we got on, and Jake Fisher. Who's Jake Fisher with? Bleacher Report? Is he just on his own now?
He's with Mark Stein's Substack.
That's
the
right.
Stein line.
Yeah. The Stein line. What a name.
Friend to me and friend to Brewhoop, Mark Stein.
Hell yeah. So he did a I don't know, like a live stream or whatever, and he said, quote, "From my conversations around with people around the league, around Milwaukee, and people around the Antetokounmpo brothers, that the writing is on the wall." So he echoed the same thing that Shams said. So obviously referring writing on the wall being Giannis asks for a trade. So, and then also Giannis has been posting just like cryptic social media stuff, like just, I don't know, popular pop culture memes and whatnot. He posted a photo last night of him like listfully looking into the distance, like a young 19-year-old Giannis. So that's basically the roundup. Oh yeah, I will add that like Kyle Kuzma was like asked about the Giannis talking to his teammates, and he's like, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'll try and get the quote up, whatever.
Yeah, it basically said like it didn't happen, in at least in the way that Haynes is presenting it.
Yeah, I don't really know, honestly. I don't really remember a time he met with us. Yeah, he didn't sit us down like The Apprentice. It didn't go down like that.
Why are you bringing up The Apprentice, Kuzma? Why are you bringing up The Apprentice?
Oh god, let's not go there. Yeah, that's a good one, Jackson. Okay, so that's it. I mean, for my part, I'm kind of tired of the back and forth. Like, I want something to happen. I want a resolution. Your thoughts?
Yeah. To stave off a little bit of this kind of onslaught of what's been going on. Shout out to Jim Ozarski of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, one of my favorite people I've been able to meet on the beat. He wrote an article that, yes, the conversation did happen between Giannis and the team. Here's the good thing that or at least depending on how you look at it, here's the thing that he pointed out for a bit of context, that these types of meetings that Giannis has about like the state of the team, his position in it, all that kind of his future is standard. This is not a new thing that happened. Like, it's not like they don't like check in or this is kind of a surprise meeting. This is from how I'm interpreting it, a regular thing. And this was confirmed to him by a league source. The difference is that he pointed out is that this was made public. Typically these meetings are private meetings. So how I'm looking at least that portion of it, and this was in the aftermath of Shams's report, and I guess it technically addresses Jake Fisher's report, that this for me seems like more of a way for Giannis to put pressure on the front office to make a trade post December 15th, when a bunch of the re-signees and free agents would be available for trade. That restriction is over. Not saying that there's going to be a trade happening. I don't got sources. I don't know what's going on. But it is. I agree with you. It is frustrating, not just from the perspective of like we're as Bucks fans are sick and tired of Giannis being constantly thrown into trade rumors all the time, and every single time the Bucks have done something to keep him around or he signed an extension to stay. It's just like, if this is what Giannis wants, if he ends up saying like, you know what, I've loved my 12, 13 years in Milwaukee. It's been great. This team is just not it right now. And that's not an insult to the players at all. This is just what he sees and how the team is played. This is not the players are bad. This is the team is not playing well. And I don't see
team's not good.
Yeah, the team is not good. It's such a weird, hard line because I don't know if I'm just like trying to be an apologist for him saying like, "Oh, I want to trade because the team is bad." It kind of feels insulting to the player or other players on the team. Like, but at the end of the day, my point was it's just like whatever he wants to do, and according to Sham's report, that a decision will be made in the coming weeks. So
yeah, I should have added that. Yeah, for context.
Yeah. So funny enough, his injury timeline is 2 to 4 weeks from when the report came out, which is a few weeks. So, and to the people who suggested, at least on the Brew Hoop website and on Twitter, that Giannis was faking an injury to like set up a trade over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you should have your Bucks fandom card revoked. Giannis has played through so many goddamn injuries for this team. The hyperextension in his knee in the finals, playing through calf strains and soleus injuries, and
it feels like he always comes back like he's itching to, like, even the groin thing. It was like, it was like 1 to 2 week injury, and I believe he came back like maybe, what was it, 11 days after us. So it's right in that ballpark. And even I was just like, ooh, well, it wasn't that long ago that he went out with the injury. So, and then obviously not like 3 games later, he re-injures himself. So, definitely I wouldn't question his kind of, I think that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, we're just going to have to be patient to see what decision there is. Like, I think there is some potential thing where like Giannis is truly thinking about like, is Milwaukee the best place for me? And that's not to say like dissing Milwaukee. That's just him being realistic and looking at what the situation is.
I totally get it. I mean, it's, a player like him, it's like, he should be on a team that's like better than this. And not to get too much into it, but it feels like the team just like, it's not like an insult to say this team is like a long way away from being close to like competing for anything meaningful. So
yeah, I mean, like every great player has at least in the more modern era has done it. LeBron, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, like that.
And I want to say,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just want to say, the Bucks have been competing for like nearly a decade. Like it was 2018 when they made the conference finals against the Raptors. I think
2018.
2019. So it's like So like, point is it's really hard. The league is literally set up, and the rules are set up to make it difficult to keep going for that long. And so I guess it's somewhat expected that there was going to be a kind of a fall off, and it feels like that's what this team represents a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just curious. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I was trying to see when that first year that Bucks made the playoffs. I think it was 2016. Was that first year they made the playoffs? Yeah, Giannis was an all-star. He won most improved player.
Was that against Boston?
I believe so. If I can actually click on the right thing.
Playoff series at the
that was against the Raptors. That was against the Lowry and DeRozan.
Oh yes,
Raptors.
And that was in Thon Maker had like a 8-block game. I remember that. Yeah. I would say I officially became a fan in like 28. It was Bud's first season. Like I started following the team at the end of the previous season, and then it was Bud's first season when I started watching illegal streams whenever I whenever I was available to watch it. So yeah.
And just to take a quick down memory lane real quick. Listen to some of the names that were on this Bucks team that went 42-40. It was the 6th seed in the East. Michael Beasley, Rookie of the Year, Malcolm Brogdon, Matthew Dellavedova, Spencer Hawes, John Henson, Terrence Jones, Greg Monroe, Jabari Parker, Gary Payton II, Miles Plumlee, Tony Snell, Mirza Teletovic, Jason Terry, Axel Tupain, and Rashad Vaughn.
Bucks legend Rashad Vaughn.
So, yeah, the Bucks have made the playoffs every year since then. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This, if they somehow put it together, this would be the 10th year in a row they've made the playoffs since Giannis' ascension, when he ascended to being an all-star level player. You are right. It is damn hard to be that competitive for that long. In this, especially in the new CBA rules with aprons and new tax stuff and restrictions on a whole bunch of different stuff. So the fact they've been able to do this for this long has been impressive. Is there the level of success that we might have wanted since the championship in the last 4 years? Absolutely not. But at the same time, it's just, it feels like the last vestiges of like trying to add someone just out of desperation to keep a guy, and then he eventually leaves and it gets blown up. That's what this kind of feels like.
Yep. We'll have to see. Yep, for sure.
So, moving away from that potentially depressing topic, what did you learn, at least from these Bucks games, Jack?
So what I learned this week was that Myles Turner is just like, he's being underutilized by the Bucks, and like they're just not being creative enough with him and getting him involved. He played the first game against the Pistons, I believe Bobby poured it. Like he played 20 minutes, but that's somewhat explainable because I reckon Bobby was playing quite well in that game, and at least he was hitting his shots. And then obviously Sims played a good game as well. 23 minutes versus the Sixers, like you said, like he got subbed in with 3 minutes left. Like, okay, you're playing this guy $30 million a year, and then he played 25 minutes against the Pistons. And like, I did some digging on his stats. So his field goal attempts are way down. He shot 11.6 field goal attempts over the last 3 seasons at Indy. He's shooting 9.6 per game in Milwaukee. He's shooting the lowest field goal percentage of his career at 43%. He's 49% for the rest of his career. He's shooting the highest number of threes in his career, but by a mile the lowest number of twos. So he's shooting 5.9 threes per game and 3.7 twos per game. He averages 7.2 two-point attempts per game for the rest of his career. So that's like nearly a 4-shot difference. Like, that's massive. And he's getting 1 offensive rebound per game compared to 1.4 for the rest of his career. So like his numbers are down. And I'm thinking about like what that tells us on a real basic level. It just tells us that like this has Doc written all over it. Like, you're going to stand, basically, you're just literally just stand there and shoot. You're just going to stand on the outside and shoot threes for us. And I guess there is some intrinsic value in that if he is, if like he's keeping his player close to him so Giannis can go and like dunk and it just creates space. I haven't gone and checked like the 2-man lineup and stuff. So there is possibly some intrinsic value there. The other thing is he benefits. He's not a self-creator, and he benefits a lot from like when Tyrese Halliburton came to the Pacers, his stats rose heaps across the board when Tyrese Halliburton went there in 2022. And, you know, I mean, to say there's no Tyrese Halliburton in Milwaukee, I mean, that's obvious, but KPJ just came back. But it's like, there's not that guy that you're like, oh, this is like the perfect synergy for Myles Turner. So, yeah. And then, I don't know. So I have another point about like the Sims of it all and whatnot. But yeah, your thoughts on Turner, like anything, the way they're utilizing him.
Yeah. I have come on this podcast many times and been banging the drum that Doc Rivers is like totally misusing Myles Turner. So I completely agree with you in that aspect. And then like just looking at it, I was looking at some of his other stats while reading off some of the other ones. His total rebounds are down 1. His defensive rebounds is almost down 1 total. His blocks are almost down by 1. And yeah, his scoring's down by 3 points overall. So it's just like, it boggles the mind. Like, and I'm going to bring it back to this point, and I will continue to bring it up until he is gone or he changes. He said, I'm going to use Myles Turner on the elbow as like a secondary playmaker in the half court. I have not seen one goddamn play where Myles Turner's at the elbow and he's allowed to operate like a post player and like find guys. And like, I agree with the point that like, okay, if you just want Myles Turner to stand on the perimeter when Giannis is playing, that's fine. If you want to treat him like Brook Lopez when Giannis is playing, cool by me when they're on the floor together. Yet, when they're not on the floor together, whether that's because Giannis is on the bench or he's not playing, find other ways to use him. Allow him to play like how he played the last 3 years with Indy when he was nearly a 20-point per game scorer.
We all watched his games in Indy. He was like, and this is like I mean, you're going to talk about Doc, but like, it's just like, Doc just feels like, okay, Myles Turner, you are a spacing big, so space on the floor. And like in Indiana's system, he's, they're doing like the pass to Halliburton passes to him and then run straight for a pick and roll. And like, he's being given touches. This is what like, I always when I used to play, like it helps every player on the court when you can just touch the ball. Whether you touch it and then you pass it and then you get it back, and it just like, but it feels like he's just a disparate part among like a island of like misfit toys that are like learning to play together. And like the 2-point attempts, like he averages 7.2 2-point attempts for his game, shooting 3.7 in Milwaukee. Like, and the Bucks, like 25 minutes against the Pistons, like, what is this guy? A second string, third string center? Like, we're paying him. He's the second highest paid player on the team. Like, what are we doing here? It's just like, it feels like he like has a good stretch and then he gets subbed off and it's like, all right, we'll see you late in the next quarter, man.
So
get comfy on the bench, bro.
So here's just, and I wanted to look this up because I forgot the NBA actually tracks touches. Myles Turner is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th on the Bucks in touches per game.
It's insane.
He averages 34.3, which is less than Cole Anthony, Kyle Kuzma, and Bobby Portis. The only other players who should have more are, and I agree with the top 4, at least right now, are AJ Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and Giannis. Those are the only 4 players that realistically should be ahead of Myles Turner. And then here's the average. They also calculates time of possession for each touch, or average seconds per touch, is at 1.5. And yes, I know he's a big, but Bobby Portis is at 1.8. a full 0.3 of a second more. His average time of possession is not a second. It's 0.9. It's 0.9.
Yeah. We spoke about Sims. Like, Sims is in a good stretch right now, and I want to give him credit. Like, his one-on-one defense has been excellent, but
except against Paul George in ISOs.
Our fellow brew hooper Zach Day, in his, this is a little actually it'll be out by the time you guys are listening to this pod, but in his preview for the game against Boston, he made the point that like Sims, like, it's cool and all that, like, Sims is getting minutes and like playing well and stuff, but like, he's 27. Like, is he, like, it's cool and all that he's playing well, but like, what is really the upside of like, and like, he has a limited skill set by the nature of just what he's good at, and like, so it's cool that he's playing well, but I'm not sure he's not like a piece for the future or anything. And I don't know, like, I understand him playing in the fourth quarter, like in certain games, like him playing against Detroit was the right move. But I also think, like, where are you going if you're investing like heaps of like key minutes in this guy over your $30 million center, like over a guy who's on a minimum deal? Like, it just feels a bit weird to me.
And here's what I want to say. Like, regardless of whether Jericho is like a future piece for this team down the line, the cut in minutes for your center rotation should not come at your $30 million starter. 100%. It should be against your defensively challenged backup center making $13 or like $18 million. Like, that's the thing about Doc Rivers. And when I talk about my plan, I will get into this too. Like, the decision to play Jericho Sims more, overall, we can agree we're okay with, especially when he plays well in the midst of a game. And I think overall he should get a semi-good stream of minutes. He does some good stuff, especially rebounding and on defense, which the Bucks really need. Should not be taking minutes for Myles Turner, Doc. If like you're not going to use him right, like I feel bad for Myles Turner because they must have said something during that free agency pitch that's like, yeah, we're going to use you this way and that and boop, 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 boop. And now they're using him like this. Like, unless this was the game plan and he's okay with it, like, more power to him. If that's what you want to do. More power to you.
Jericho Sims played, like, we spoke about, this is what I'm talking about, like, it feels like Doc isn't, I mean, this is obvious, but like Doc isn't from game to game, like, thinking about like what adjustment needs to be made for this one. And like, if something was working in the last game, but it wasn't working in this game, I should probably like change it up and just go to like the conventional thinking. Jericho Sims played 30 minutes against the Philadelphia 76ers. He had 2 points and 9 rebounds. Like, and like you said in that game, like Turner got subbed in with 3 minutes to go. Like, what's the freaking point? Yeah. And it's just like, it just seems like Jericho Sims playing well, like whatever, keep him in. But like, it's a game to game thing with him because he's not going to be like, you're not relying on Sims to be like, all right, he's going to give us like 15 and 11 rebounds a night. Like, he can't do that. So
he hadn't had a double-double in 3 years when he got that double-double against the Pistons. It had been 3 years since he had a double-double.
That's a crazy stat. Wow.
Yeah, or it was either 2 or 3 years. It was either like November of 2022 or 2023. I can't quite remember which year, but it had been more than a year since he had a double-double. Like that, I think that's the big thing. And we're just going to get into my portion of it now because I have to talk about it. For me, what I learned is that Doc has got to go, and AJ Green is one heck of a player. The explanation that Doc Rivers had for the rotations with Bobby and Jericho and Myles in that game against the Sixers was he wanted a shooter out, or no, He wanted a role man, and Bobby was playing well. And he opted that Jericho Sims should be the role man. At least that we talked about it after, not me and Doc, but me and the other reporters were talking about, like, that's what he meant. We kind of parsed out that's what he meant, that he wanted Jericho out there as the role man, and Bobby was playing well. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Myles Turner's
and like it's kind of funny how like what Myles Turner can't be the role man.
Bro,
Myles Turner can roll and like it's so funny. Like just because Jericho Sims can only roll and Turner can roll and pop, it doesn't mean that like Turner could not fill that role. Anyway, yeah.
Like I'm just trying to think of like the lineups the Sixers were running out there. Like you could not tell me that Bobby Portis like couldn't guard like whoever they were running at the 4 at that point, or maybe you put Bobby.
He would have been.
You could guard Jabari Walker, or if you want to throw Bobby on Andre Drummond for whatever reason, I think he could handle that. I think he's fine. Like, and I know they didn't have AJ Green, so that kind of impacts things defensively. But you could throw Gary Trent out there. You could throw Gary Harris out there. You throw Andre Jackson Jr. out there if you want a perimeter defender for Paul George, which I don't know if this was like a player thing or a doc thing. All game long, Kevin Porter Jr. was guarding Paul George. And then in 2 of the most important possessions at the end, I don't know, I can't remember if this was because it was off a Bucks miss and they cross-matched. I think one of them wasn't. I think they made it and they opted to go with Jericho Sims against Paul George. Like, and this is no disrespect to Jericho. He's very athletic. He's a decent defender on the perimeter. But why, if the game plan is to have Kevin Porter Jr. on Paul George, why are you changing that now in the most important situation and see Jericho get cooked twice on ISO mid-ranges? And they eventually changed. I think they changed it on the possession after the second one. But why would you even have that in the first place unless it's a cross match on whatever? Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. The decisions in and out. And Finn talked about this in his piece today. He doesn't hold stars accountable. Ever. Like
now you're getting on. This is my turf.
Like, yeah. Again, if Giannis was playing a little bit hurt in that Wizards game, and like he was really starting to feel a calf a little bit, yeah. But that doesn't excuse playing like that badly and with that low effort. Like, and the whole thing with him just falling in love with Bobby. This is the second time. There was another game a while back. I can't remember who they were playing, but Doc, like, opted to play Bobby Portis for a big stretch of the fourth quarter instead of Myles Turner. And I think I asked him about it. Finn, when they lost to the Trailblazers, he asked about the idea of like going between like Bobby and Myles, because Bobby was having a good game against the Trailblazers. It's just he falls in love with certain guys and never holds them accountable. Like there have been plenty of games where Bobby Portis should have been benched and he wasn't. He just kept playing Bobby. Like I'm so frustrated. Talk about the doc portion that you want to talk about, and then I'm gonna end this on a good note talking about AJ Green.
You kind of spelled it out. Doc is not a good coach. He hasn't been a good coach for the modern NBA for like a long time.
And in 17 years, he hasn't been a good coach. 17 years.
He will like take a crap team and like clean up around the edges like a little bit and make them like somewhat like, for example, he's not gonna, if you have the wrong personnel to like offensive rebound or whatever, he will just like never try for an offensive rebound, and like, that's what the Bucks do now. But That was better than like Doc cleaned up a lot of like Adrian Griffin's slop. But I mean, every team that hires Doc regrets it. And as soon as the Bucks hired him, it was like everyone's trying to like cope and be like, oh, well, maybe it'll be different for us. And like, it's just not different for us. He's not a good coach. And it's one of the main reasons the team is in the position it is in, is like, you know, he gets one of the most like unique centers on the market, the top free agent, and he's treating him like a backup center who can only shoot threes and can't do literally anything else. And it's like, what are we doing here? And so, yeah, the star accountability thing, like, again, I've mentioned this, like maybe I should never coach in the NBA because I think you should treat everyone the same. And I think good players want to be coached. And if you're on some BS, you should be called out for being on some BS. And Doc will just never do that. It's like senior players, he loves them. He's more than happy to have a crack at anyone below the age of 25. But if you're above 25, you're fine. He'll never say anything to you. And, you know, like after that Washington game, I wrote in we both said it. This was like a bad Giannis game, objectively bad. Everyone online saying like he gave zero craps. It was a bad game for him. Doc comes out in the post game and says, "Oh, well, I think he'd like to have the 5 turnovers back, but he played pretty good other than that." And I'm like, do I need to say anything more? Like, this guy sucks. It was objectively, like, if you can't be honest about that game that Giannis played, where he objectively played like crap and he gave zero effort, his play was, he was trying to bowl through everyone. There was like elements of him trying to like take the game over and not respecting the opponent that he was playing against. He got blocked 3 times by Bilal Coulibaly because he thought that he could just run through him. And it just like, if Doc comes out and says that's a good game, like, it's like, all right, we're done here. This is just, there's no point. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, like it's and I've wrote about it, Finn's wrote about it now. It's just like he's not the right coach for this team because he is not a coach who will take the sum of their parts and put it to the max. Like,
yeah.
Eric Spoelstra in Miami does not have a single top 10 pick on that roster. The 2 highest pick guys were Adebayo and Hero, who were late lottery picks, and is getting the absolute max out of them. And then you got Davion Mitchell, Nikola Jovic, Pele Larson.
He puts guys in positions to succeed. Every damn one of them. He makes Davion Mitchell look
Drew
like
Smith.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, like there's so many guys that he gets the most out of them. There are not a ton of coaches like that in the league.
If you gave Spoelstra AJ Green, he'd make dude look like
he would be Klay Thompson. I'm not even kidding. I'm writing an article about AJ Green too, which I'll get into in a second. He would be Klay Thompson. He would be running so many goddamn pin downs and just play, especially with Giannis out. Like flares, pin downs, anything to get him open 3-point looks outside of handoffs and catch and shoot opportunities off drives. Like he would legitimately have him shooting like almost 10 threes a game, and I would be okay with that. So let me end off with the positive in terms of what else I learned. And this is coming through an article I'm writing. It should be coming out in the next couple of days. AJ Green has become like one of the most important Bucks. And that's slightly an obvious thing. Maybe it's not a hot take necessarily, but just look at some of his stats, and this is from Cleaning the Glass. He is second in on-off numbers for the Bucks in these categories. So his on-off, he's plus 12.3 points in terms of points scored when he's on the floor and points he score or points the Bucks score and are scored on. His points per 100 possessions is 10 point plus 10.5, which is the 94th percentile. The effective field goal percentage for the Bucks is plus 5.2% with him on the floor. It's 95th percentile. Half court points per 100 plays is plus 9 points, which is the 90th percentile. And even on defense, the opponent turnover percentage goes up by 2% with him on the floor, and that's an 82nd percentile. Like, just looking up and down at a lot of these more advanced metrics, AJ Green is becoming like one of the most important Bucks players, and I think there is another gear to unlock with him. And no, and I'm not saying he's going to turn into like Ray Allen or something like that to that extent where he's an all-star level player, but he could be like a all-star role player. Like honestly, Kyle Korver, like Hawks, Kyle Korver, I think really could be like AJ Green ceiling. Like I there are a lot of signs that he could be like that. And the tight window shooting he's had this year has been ridiculous. He's taking 2 tight window threes per game. And that's with an offender that's 2 to 4 feet. He's shooting at a 48.9% clip, which is second in the league among players who have attempted at least one of those threes and have played at least 15 games. Like, it's ridiculous, the jump in some of those numbers, not only just the percentages from last year, but the attempts in those shots. Because, yeah, you can be a guy who takes one tight 3 a game and you go 1 for 2, 1 for 2, 1 for 3 or whatever, and you can have a pretty high percentage. But the fact it's taken a jump up from last year where he was shooting 1.3 of those types of shots, there's another level to unlock with AJ Green. I'm really excited about him.
Yeah, I mean, we need a coach that's going to accentuate his strengths. But he I don't really have too much else to say. He's continues to make the jump. I remember in his first season, I believe it was 2022, 23, Drew's final season, Bud's final season. This guy on a 2-way, and he just comes in and hits threes every time, and like he kind of just like forced Bud's hand at some point to get him on the court. I remember there was a game against Minnesota, as the Bucks were at home against Minnesota, and it was like a coming out party for AJ Green, and that was in that season. And the jump he's made from then to now, he just keeps getting better. And he's the type of person. He's an excellent player, but he's also an excellent person. And these are the types of people you want in your locker room. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to add, but it's been great to watch.
Yeah. There's a quote I have from Kevin Porter Jr. here. What was it? Oh, I think it got cut down a little bit. But basically that they feed off of AJ Green and his shooting, which, again, obvious thing to say, but for the team to be in this position where they're relying on him as much as they are, and they look like, yes, they were somewhat competitive, but that was because Kevin Porter Jr. was having to carry on offense and then ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. Like, the fact that he's become such an integral piece, I think we talk about Ryan Rollins, and obviously that's much deserved. He's had a tremendous season up to this point. I just also think that what AJ Green has been able to do, and now he's averaging double-digit points for the first time in his career, should not go unnoticed as well.
No notes.
All right.
Co-sign it 100%.
we are now official. I mean, we've kind of been there for a bit, but I'm making the formal declaration that we're joining Kyle on the AJ Green fan club.
Hell yeah.
All right. Enough on the past. It's time to look to the present and the future. Very light game week for the Bucks. Part of the reason you're hearing this podcast on Thursday instead of Monday is because they didn't have a game until Thursday, because after playing against Detroit on Saturday, they've had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off, a full 4 days off. They will play the Celtics tonight at home because they didn't make the NBA Cup knockout rounds, which honestly for this team is probably a good thing. And then on Sunday, they play the Brooklyn Nets, and then it's not part of our predictions for this go around, but they won't play again until that upcoming Thursday against the Toronto Raptors at home. So, but just for the two more pressing and upcoming games, predictions for a couple of Atlantic Division teams the Bucks are going to take on.
The real question, I don't think they're getting the Celtics, so that's a loss. It's crazy that I'm even thinking about would they beat the Nets. MPJ is playing like a lot better. I believe he had 35 the other day. So you know what? I've been an optimist on the predictions, but I'm going to be a pessimist. I'm going to say they're going to lose to the Nets.
Oh no!
Crazy. And
oh no! The Doc Rivers Bucks have broken Jack's optimism. That's crazy.
If MPJ plays, I think it's a real danger game. I'm going to say that. So, yeah.
I was trying to look up their injury report. They don't have anything, at least for today. So I don't know. Because the last time, depending on how you want to look at it, they got lucky that there's no Cam Thomas or MPJ the last time they played the Nets.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think Jaylen Brown has had a pretty awesome season for the Celtics. As much as like people like to clown on him for like not being able to dribble with his left hand, he's had a really good season for the Celtics, and they have been quite surprising to be not just like over 500, but like they're 15-9 and still firmly in the Eastern Conference. And again, maybe
coaching matters. Yeah.
I was gonna say another guy who's getting the most out of his guys is Joe Mazzulla, as much as he's a bit of a crazy person. But
Mazzulla is playing like obviously the whole, you can use the chess checkers analogy, but it's more than that. It's like no, these guys are playing a different sport than Doc Rivers.
No, here's a good example. Like Joe Mazzulla is like playing like a game on like the highest hardware for a computer you can have, and Doc Rivers is still playing like Pong on his like original like Mac.
You remember that
with
game,
the floppy disk,
Snake or whatever? You play it on the phones, and it's that little like Snake. I don't know if that's what it's called.
Is it Snake like IO or something?
I have no clue, but I remember this game on all the old phones, and it's like this little snake that goes around like a. Anyway. Let me look it up real quick.
I don't think I did. I might have heard of it, but yeah, like again, the whole thing. It's just like Doc Rivers he's just past his expiration date, and Joe Mazzulla will run circles around him. So yes, I believe they're going to lose to the Celtics. And then, do I really want to say they're going to lose to the Brooklyn Nets, even if they are healthy? Like the Nets are healthy.
Honestly, the Nets might be pulling some strings in that one. Like they might think like, oh, we actually are a chance to win, and we have to like fake some injury for MPJ. You're out for this one, man.
You got a bruised throat from too many podcast episodes. I'm gonna I'm gonna move a little bit to the left of the pessimism. I'm gonna say they still take care of business against the Nets. But hey, I said this before, and maybe I was just early. I think if they lose to the Nets and they go 0-2 the next couple of games, I think it's curtains because, like I said, they won't play again until they play the Raptors in Milwaukee. So they won't even, they'll be traveling back to Milwaukee on Monday. They'll have 2 days in between to prepare for the Raptors. Leave Doc Rivers in Brooklyn if that happens.
I mean, the Nets beat the Pelicans. I mean, Pelicans are a mess. We know this, but they have played. Like, I watched them back-to-back games against the T-Wolves, and they played the T-Wolves pretty damn well in both games. They've had some competitive. A lot of their losses have been close losses, and Nets blew them out by 30 or 25, or whatever it was.
That's
so
again.
I'm not trying to like troll when I say they can win that game. I think genuinely they can win that game. So yeah.
Jordy Fernandez, honestly, I've gone to a lot of Bucks Nets games. I think the next time they play them in Milwaukee, I think it'll be the 4th or 5th one I've been to already. He's quickly becoming like one of my favorite like coaches to listen to talk about like his guys. And I even asked a question about Noah Clowney the last time they were in Milwaukee. He's got the juice. Like if you give him like a little bit more talent, I really think the Nets could be something like with him as their head coach. I don't know if he's on this, like he's going to reach that upper tier of coaches, but I think he's already at least an above average coach.
Yeah, I said it in our group chat. Like when you are the coach that ruins the tanking plans, that's when you know you got a good one. Like he completely screwed their tank last season, which is why they had to make the team quote unquote Geordie proof this season by getting rid of any veteran with any sort of basketball ability at all. And still, he manages to get an impressive win here or there. The team is mostly Geordie proof. It is filled with like 19-year-olds who like haven't played before, but haven't played NBA basketball. But yeah, he's another one where he's playing another sport.
I was going to say, there's a reason they kept all 5 of their first round picks this year. There's a reason.
Yes.
Although, hey, Danny Wolf is not one of those rookies who is Geordie proof. He's good. I like Danny Wolf.
Very true.
Or maybe that's just because he had to play against Bobby Portis. Who knows? Anyway, it's time for our miscellaneous section of the pod. And we're going to start it off with, I'm sad I missed this last week, but I'm happy to be back for it this time. It's, what's this Aussie slang? And so what do you got for us this week?
All right. So my first word is bogan.
Bogan?
Yeah. Bogan. You want a clue?
I don't know why the first thing I thought of was like it was something related to music or like something good, because I was like thinking like, oh man, I'm bogan on these beats. So I'm assuming that's way off. That's a Paul George against the Nuggets in the bubble shot right there.
Straight off the side of the backboard for that one. Yep. So it's like a way you describe a particular type of person. Like this person is a bogan. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see that. So is it a good thing to be a bogan or a bad thing to be a bogan?
Well, I mean,
or what type of person is a bogan? Maybe let me ask that question.
Yeah. So I would give away the answer if I was to tell you that.
I thought that was the answer. Sorry.
So a bogan is a redneck.
Oh, okay.
But there would be a lot of people who in Australia I don't know if this is the case. People proudly describe themselves as rednecks in America, but there would be, people say, "Oh yeah, I'm a blogan." Like there would be a lot of people who don't care, but like it's, it's like an Aussie redneck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. All right.
And my second one is a food.
Ooh.
And it's a snag.
A snag?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, I'll give you a quick clue. A snag is like you would find a snag at most concession stands at sports arenas and in America. Like it's like
Ooh. Well, we're getting food's getting fancy over here at sporting events. So there's a little bit of a wider net here. But the fact you said it was more common, is it like nachos? Like that's the first.
No, it's not. It's not that, but it's if you just keep listing off other items that you would get at the concession stand.
Hot dog?
Yeah. It's a sausage.
Oh, that was the first one in my head. I'm like, I should go with nachos.
So technically, a snag is a sausage, whereas a hot dog is like what we would call like they're like different things. Like a sausage is like more meaty, and it's like a Frankfurt type of thing is what a hot dog is. But for all intents and purposes, they're both. I mean, meat in case Yeah.
I mean, they'd be selling like Italian sausages and like sausages at sporting events. I mean, we're talking about Wisconsin here. Like they'd be serving them sausages and bratwurst.
Very true. Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. So snag, we say like snag sausage sort of thing. Yeah.
Ooh. There's a little bit of a switch up with mine because I don't really have any more Legos to show. I'm kind of unfortunately Legoed out at this point, but there's a reason. Normally when I start these, A, because it's a Monday and it's like top of mind, but B, there's a reason I didn't share stuff about my favorite NFL team, the Chicago Bears. And that's because I wanted to save it for now. And it's because it's Chicago Bears roundup time. So coming into this week, they had a big game against the Green Bay Packers, who are like their arch rivals. It's kind of been their, at least in recent years for the Bucks, their Indiana Pacers for like the last 100 years at this point between the Bears and the Packers. Bears were the 1 seed. Packers were right behind them. Really great game in the second half. Bears tied it at 21 after being down 14-3 at halftime. But Packers took the lead, and Caleb Williams threw a game-ending interception with 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter on 4th and 1. And the Bears lost. They dropped all the way from the 1st seed in the conference to the 7th seed, which is the last playoff spot in NFL football. And so this week they go against the Cleveland Browns, who have Myles Garrett, who has 20 sacks on the year. And from memory serves, the like single season record is like 22.5, and we're only 13 games into the season. So monstrous force. And this is a big game because the Bears play the Packers again on next Saturday. So lots of things happening on that end of it. So, but overall feeling is cautious optimism. Got to win this game against the Browns, and who knows, maybe that game in next Saturday will determine who wins the NFC North, but we will have to wait and see.
The Packers and the Bears, that's like a real rivalry, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, they've been playing each other since the 20s. Like, it is 20s or 30s. It is deep. They've played, this was like the 211th or 212th time regular season and playoffs they've played each other. And since the 90s when they got Brett Favre, it's like the Bears are like 15-46 against the Packers. Like it's been bad. It's been very bad the last 20 year or 30 years.
And did the Bears kind of build, like obviously they got a Caleb Williams guy who was number one pick. Correct me if I'm
Yes,
wrong there. But
yes.
did they build kind of through a tanking mechanism like you would see in the?
Yes, but not in the same way. So,
Right.
2 years before they drafted him, they got the number 1 pick. They traded that pick to number 9, got the Carolina Panthers first round pick for that year. Or no, it's 2023. They got Carolina, they swapped, and then they got Carolina's 2024 first round pick. That ended up turning into the number 1 pick, which became Caleb Williams. So that's
nice.
So they tanked, swapped picks, and got the number 1 pick through someone else's tank.
There you go. That's good GMing.
Yeah. And I mean, just as a side note, Chicago sports are kind of on a number 1 pick roll. The Bears got the number 1 pick twice the last couple of years. The Blackhawks for hockey got the number 1 pick. And then the Chicago White Sox for baseball, they just got the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft. So maybe if Arturas Karnisovas gets fired and the Bulls tank, who knows? Maybe the Bulls will actually get the number 1 pick again and not get screwed after beating the Lakers on a half-court buzzer and losing Cooper Flagg, or Niko Mirotic screwing the Bulls out of Luka Doncic.
It's like it's so funny. Like the Bucks have won like I don't know what they are over their last 10 games, but like they've like won like maybe 1 or 2 games, and they've actually risen in the standings because the Bulls have like lost like 10 straight at this point or whatever it's been. So the Bucks and Bulls are trying hard to out embarrass each other in the Midwest sporting teams.
Yeah. The Bulls have lost 7 in a row, and are the 11th seed. The Bucks are the 10 seed. They are in a tie, but the Bucks have a higher win percentage because they're 10-15, whereas the Bulls are 9-14 after starting 6-1.
Yeah.
And yeah, their losses have been pretty. I can tell you that. With a 1-point win over the Wizards, lost to the Pelicans, Hornets, Pacers, Nets, and Pacers again, with a Warriors and a Magic loss sprinkled in.
Yeah, it ain't good.
Nope. So, Bears football at this point, for my own personal fandom, is the only thing keeping me alive for Chicago sports, because the Cubs ain't doing shit either in free agency for baseball. So, but anyway, enough of my depression in that aspect of my life. That's gonna do it for us on that bit of a somber note. Thank you so much for listening for this long, about hour and 20 minutes, and we appreciate you all for listening. Make sure to share this podcast online with your friends and family, and make sure to get as many listens as possible. And as always, make sure to go on to brewhoop.com. We have game recaps, player grades, polls you the listeners and the readers can vote on about Doc Rivers, the Giannis rumors, almost anything. And then, of course, we got some features coming out. Make sure to read Finn's story on player coach accountability that he talked about. And also, of course, got game previews. And then, obviously, my article on AJ Green coming out in the next couple of days. So, with all that said, again, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you all next week.